So, as many of you guys probably saw this last weekend, Commander in Chief Donald Trump and the Secretary of War now, Dylan Pete Hegseth, they invited, I think it was like over 500 generals. Some of them flew from like the Middle East, just all over the world for this big meeting. Shit, I thought we were about to like announce we were gonna like launch an invasion into Venezuela. I was scared as shit. I was like, Dylan, I think it's time that we're probably gonna have to like enter the military and defend defend against Venezuela, which is a
Or leave the country is also
yeah
another
or
option.
yeah true. And so there were like a couple of clips coming out of here, and I was watching some of it. Just want to kind of show this one clip where Donald Trump, the president of the United States, literally tells these generals that U.S. cities should be used as a training ground for fighting in conflicts abroad. It's fucking insane. It's bonkers. He brings up Chicago. Let's just watch this, and then I can't say I'm shocked anymore, but let me play it.
Very important mission. And I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid. They threw him out of his family business. He was so stupid. I know the family. He becomes governor. He's got money, not money that he made, but he ran for governor, he won, and now he criticizes us all the time. And last week they had 11 people murdered, 44 people.
I kind of just want to stop it there. Let's just ignore the kind of funny comments that he made about his family business. But I mean, this is insane. I think that if there's anyone on the right that is excusing this behavior, like how would you feel if a Democratic president said, "Hey, we're gonna, I'm thinking about sending the military into Republican states like Tennessee or Kentucky, so our military can train against U.S. citizens." It's just insane to see the president of the United States basically say, "Hey, I told the Secretary of War that we should maybe send in generals and troops to train on U.S. citizens." It's fucking bonkers to me, dude.
Yeah, definitely. And you kind of mentioned it already, but if Obama or Clinton or any liberal president within the last 50 years, Democratic president, had done something like this, I think we would be talking about it for the next 200 years. And the example that conservative commentators and thought leaders bring up when they talk about executive overreach is Obama not auditing the IRS, but people who were at the IRS while Obama was president auditing conservative companies that were related to the Tea Party movement. That's nothing in comparison to sending federal troops to a American city. One of our gems, our cultural gems, is Chicago. I love Kanye West, so Kanye comes out of Chicago. We got to keep Chicago safe for that reason. But if any liberal president had done this, they would be up in arms, the right. And also, no liberal president has done anything like this. I think it's also important to point out that one problem with Donald Trump that the left is great at criticizing is his authoritarian sort of overreach with executive power, and this is one example. You can pull many, many examples. If you are a left-leaning person, you can kind of identify it pretty easily. But another example is just this divisive rhetoric. No liberal president, Obama was not in 2014 saying, "Oh, the governor of Utah is really just he's a mama's boy, and he gets all his money from his daddy and his mama, and he did nothing with his life, and now he just happens to be governor." Like, no, this divisive rhetoric is something that has directly led to violence in the recent past with Charlie Kirk shooting, and is continuing to create divides. I just feel heartbroken that this is the rhetoric that the right is hearing and following when I have conservative people in my life and conservative family members. I don't think you should ever be thinking that sending federal troops into any American cities is a smart idea, whether the president is Donald Trump or Joe Biden or whoever. It's mind blowing to me that this is now acceptable and normal and not wall to wall coverage on every news station.
Yeah, I think it's not wall to wall coverage because so much shit is going on 24/7, and I think he just doesn't care. He clearly doesn't care about the Constitution. I mean, he's violated it over and over again. But I mean, just to like when he talks about the enemy from within, he is talking about you, right? And today it may be people on the left, right? But if we allow this to keep occurring, what's going to stop a Democratic president from doing the same thing to the right? Even though I don't think they would, and I think me and you would both call them out. A lot of people would call them out, but I think we're just on a slippery slope. It's really, it's terrible to see a president kind of talk about using cities as training grounds for our military. And these are people who, by the way, men and women who signed up to protect us, fighting overseas. They never expected to be deployed against their own people or to be deployed in DC picking up trash. I mean, I saw so many videos of them picking up trash, which if you pick up trash for a living, that's amazing. That's not what they signed up to do, right? So I think he's dehumanizing them. But again, it's like the 24-hour news cycle. He does something next, does something next. We kind of forget about it. We move on, and it's just on to the next crazy shit. So I don't know, man. I think the one silver lining to me was I kind of watched parts of the bizarre conference. The first silver lining is that we're not going into another war. Okay, so that's good. We're not invading Venezuela. For a second, I thought that may have happened. So if there's one
bare
thing you
minimum
can take out of this, the bare minimum is that we're not starting a new war. And if we did, he wouldn't even need Congress's approval. I think he would just do it. And the other kind of silver lining is that the generals kind of were very timid. They didn't really clap. I think some of them laughed in the front. And there's this photo that I think kind of does a pretty good job capturing the mood. I know generals are usually supposed to look, stern face. They don't look pretty happy here. And I think almost half of the conference was just Hegseth, the Secretary of War, who supposedly is sober now. His drunk ass just like talking down to these generals, calling them fat, saying that they need to pass the same fitness test that he does. I'm like, dude, like with all due respect, you sit in the office all day. I believe he served before, and thank you for your service. But these people are out there stationed in very dangerous, some of them stationed in very dangerous parts of the world, and you're actively talking down to them. Dylan, my concern is that they're doing this because they want to root out generals who will not be 100% loyal to them if there is another major constitutional crisis. I'm really concerned about that. I think that they're going to use this to force generals to retire that aren't fully loyal to the administration. What do you think about that take?
Well, obviously, the generals in the United States military are supposed to be nonpartisan. You have generals spanning back hundreds of years who have had political opinions, whether they've ran for office like Eisenhower or who have contributed a lot on the national stage. But when you're in uniform, you are supposed to be part of a nonpartisan sort of class as part of the military. And I think that is still the case with a lot of military generals. Who is it? You'll remember the name better than I will. It's General Kelly, who quit over disdain for the comments that Donald Trump had for him. And this is a man who spent his entire life in service to the United States military and pledged his oath to the United States Constitution defending it. So I think these are people who should be treated with respect and honor. And I don't think, one, Pete Hegseth was doing that. Two, I mean, whatever his personal dealings are, that's for him to deal with. But I mean, just a quick Google search, you can look it up on Google what the minimum requirements are for joining the military. They have different heights and they have different weight maximums for different heights. And most people are probably not going to even get close to that maximum if you're trying to get into the military. So if you're 69 inches tall, funny number, but if you're 69 inches tall, if you're 5'9", the maximum weight you can be if you're 17 to 20 years old is 175 pounds. And it gradually increases from there. That's not a small weight for sure. I mean, we do live in
nothing crazy,
one of the most obese countries in the world. But yeah, these are not people who are like 300 pounds like Pete Hegseth was making it sound like. So these are you can maybe you're gonna pull up
unlike the president of the United States, the generals and the armed forces are actually fit. I think this is a funny tweet from Newsom that kind of just shows the hypocrisy of this. Like, dude, the president of the United States is fat. He's just fat. He wears oversized suits to not showcase all the fat he has. I think it just
gives out McDonald's at the White House.
Which is fine, right? American freedom. Eat whatever the fuck you want, but don't go out there and despair people who are literally putting their lives on the line for you to be able to sit in that White House and supposedly now break the Constitution every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk, if you're a voter and you want to talk about strength, let's get some sort of liberal bodybuilder in there. Let's get Arnold Schwarzenegger of the left into the White House in 2028, I think that will show strength better than a dilapidated man who, what did he say about Tylenol? It can only be good and not bad. Like, this man can't speak. He's overweight. Like, beyond the fact that I'm not trying to make ad hominems to him, I'm quite concerned about his actual physical and mental acuity to do the job of the president of the United States. But that's kind of getting off on a tangent. I think it's not very patriotic for Pete Hegseth to talk about that. If he wants to make a point about maybe we are being a little too lenient with the people we're letting into the military, that's
Yeah.
fine. Give a solid proposal. The
Yeah.
generals who are in front of you are not voters. This is not a stump speech in North Carolina. These are people who can make these changes that you want to make. So give them, hey, instead of 175 pounds for 17 to 20-year-olds who are 5'9", the average height of a man in the United States, make it 165 pounds. I don't know. Give
Yeah.
some sort of suggestion so we can work with that instead of saying it's the woke people. This is not.
Or like DEI, woke.
Yeah.
It's
He's missing the mark on who his
Yeah.
audience is here, and I think it really shows how little political chops he has. But that's to be decided by him, and hopefully he'll be out of his position soon. Fingers crossed.